Do you need a visa to enter the UK and Europe? Well, the short answer is no, you don't need a visa, but you will need what's called an electronic travel authorization, or an ETA, and that is new, so here's everything that you need to know. In this video, I'll answer the entry requirements for US passport holders to get into the UK. Where exactly do the new entry requirements apply to? What about the rest of Europe? What you'll need if you're just connecting a flight or stopping on a cruise ship in the UK, the logistics of applying for this new ETA, the costs, how long it'll take, the limitations and the expiries of your ETA, the questions you can expect to be asked on the application, what to do if you're traveling with a large group or a family, and finally, I'll provide some useful links for information. I'm Bob Bradley with the Pampered Cruiser, and if you'd like to book a trip to the UK or really any other package, land vacation, river cruise, small ship, ocean cruise, or expedition, then we'd love to help you out. We know the products and the destinations very well, and we can always get you something that's not available on direct bookings. Also, visit our website at www.pamperedcruiser.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter that features informative articles along with cruise and package land travel opportunities. Okay, here's what you need to know about the new UK entry requirements for US passport holders. As of January 7th, 2025, all visitors to the UK will require an electronic travel authorization, or an ETA. I'll get more into the detail of this in just a minute, but the short story is that you'll have to do this prior to your arrival in the UK, and it's going to cost you £10 sterling, or about 13 US dollars. By the way, this doesn't just apply to US passport holders. If you're traveling on a passport issued by the European Union or one of the Commonwealth nations, you're not exempt, and you'll have to go through this same process. There is a different process for those holding passports from the Republic of Ireland, but pretty much everyone else is subject to this ETA. If you're a dual citizen of the UK and another country, then as long as you use your British passport upon entry, you won't have to do this. First, a very short social studies lesson. For clarity, the United Kingdom, or UK, consists of the countries of England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and 14 overseas territories. Some of those territories you probably know, like Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, the Falkland Islands, and Gibraltar. Commonwealth nations like Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and about 50 others, those are sovereign countries. They're not part of the UK, so those countries have their own individual entry requirements. Another common question is this ETA good for the rest of Europe? No. The UK is no longer part of the European Union. You might remember that little thing called Brexit. It was about 5 prime ministers ago. The UK voted themselves out of Europe, so the EU has separate entry requirements. As a sidebar, the EU fully intends to implement its own ETA in 2025, but they've put it off several times already, so we don't have a firm implementation date. Check back here, because as soon as we know, you'll know. So do you need the ETA if you're connecting a flight or visiting on a cruise ship? Well, first of all, most cruises that touch the UK also start or finish there, which means you're going to be going between the ship and the airport, in which case you'll definitely need the ETA. Also, for clarity, when you're connecting a flight, you can either be doing an airside transfer, this is where you don't leave the airport, or a landside transfer, where you might stay overnight, or in the case of London, you might be switching airports. The language here is pretty ambiguous, so we are strongly recommending to our clients that they get the ETA just to make their lives easier. This applies to anyone with a layover in the UK or visiting on a cruise ship. Just get the ETA. So how do you apply? I've gone through the process partly so I could speak from experience when I was making this video, and also because I know at the very least I'll be connecting a flight sometime in the next 2 years in the UK, almost certainly. So I've provided links below. You can either make your application by following a link and doing it online on your computer, or you can download the app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And as much as I hate typing with my thumbs, I'm going to recommend you download the app from one of those app stores. We did my application on the app, and we had Sue do hers at the same time on the computer, and mine took half as long as was much easier using the app. To get ready, you'll need your passport, and you'll also need to upload a photo of your mugshot. They haven't specified if you're allowed to smile, so have some fun with it. You'll also need a method of payment. You can pay by credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, or Google Pay. The cost is £10, which is about $13 at the time of recording. Once you've got this done, it's good for multiple entries into the UK for 2 years, unless your passport expires in that time, in which case you'll have to make another application. So what questions can you expect when you're making your application? Well, you'll need to enter your personal data, such as your address, your telephone number, and your email. You'll be asked if you have a job, and if so, what it is that you do. You'll be asked if you've ever had any criminal convictions in any country. You'll be asked if you've been involved in or been accused of war crimes, terrorism, or you've been linked with any extremist groups. You'll be asked if you have citizenship in more than one country, either currently or in the past. And here's some tough love, folks. If you feel uncomfortable fully and truthfully answering any of these questions, you should really give second thought as to whether you want to travel to any other country. Our government shares intelligence with the British government, amongst many others, and if you lie or conceal information, you could end up in a British prison, where they undoubtedly have very comfortable linens and they'll be exquisitely polite, but nevertheless, you will be in prison. How long can you expect this to take? Well, it took me about 10 minutes to do this on the app. It took about 20 minutes for Sue to do hers online. I was then told to expect approval within 3 days. My approval came through in less than 5 minutes, but you should make sure that you apply at least 3 days prior to your plan to go to the UK. If you happen to be leaving tomorrow for the UK, do it anyway and hope that it's going to be approved before you arrive. At the very least, you'll be able to show them that you've got it in progress. They do send you a receipt by email that shows that you've made the application. What happens if you don't do it? Well, honestly, I don't know, but your life's going to be a lot easier if you just get this done. I suspect that in the first few months that they'll be somewhat forgiving and ask you to do it upon arrival. However, if you end up with an angry or somewhat overzealous airline employee here in the States, and that never happens, does it? Then you could be denied boarding. So your best bet is just to get this done. Can you get a travel agent to do this for you? Nope, there's declarations that have to be made by the individual traveler. But there's a whole bunch of other reasons why you should call people like us to book your travel. What if you're traveling with your 12 kids? Well, first of all, congratulations on being so fertile. If you're traveling with 12 kids, then you're going to have to make 12 different applications in addition to your own. There are no family packages, and every individual needs their own ETA. The good news is that you can do the application for all 12 of your kids on your app. You don't have to download the app onto 12 different devices. The child or the person that you're helping will need to be present when you're doing their application, because you'll have to scan their face and take a photo of them during the application process. So keep your 12 kids handy while you're doing the application. So is this all just a great big cash grab? Yes, it is. But before you get all bent out of shape, remember that the US imposed this condition on British and European travelers well over a decade ago. And they have to pay more. They also have to reapply every time they come to the United States. So in actual fact, the British are treating us much better than we've treated them in these same circumstances. To be clear, this is not a visa. A visa is when you send your passport off to an embassy, usually pay a much larger fee, and has a much more detailed application that usually you have to get a lawyer to help you with. ETAs are in use all over the world. For example, if you visited Australia or New Zealand in the last couple of decades, you've already gone through a similar process. Here's some links that'll be useful for you, and I've also put them in the notes below. The first link is to the British government's website with more information about the ETA itself. The second and third links are for making the application either by the app or online. And if you want more information about the European Union's plan for their own ETA, then the fourth link will take you there. Those links are embedded in the notes below. Here's the bottom line. If you're hearing a whole bunch of fuss about a visa requirement for the UK or how onerous or unfair it is, then that's misinformation and negative hype. This is really much ado about nothing. Unless you're traveling to Mexico or Canada, just about everywhere else in the world has a similar process. In the old days, you'd answer these same questions by filling out a paper form when entering a country. With this process, you'll do it in advance, you'll pay a small fee, and it'll be good for 2 years. If you ask me, I think this is an improvement. I hope this helps, and if you've enjoyed this video, then give us a thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to book a trip to the UK or really any other packaged land, river cruise, ocean cruise, or expedition cruise, then we'd love to help you out. We know the destinations and the products very well, and we can always get you something that you can't get on direct bookings. Here's our contact information, and it's also included in the notes below. Thanks for watching.